more. We're joined now by Gilles Pison. He's an associate researcher at the French National Institute of Demographic Studies and editor-in-chief of Population and Societies. Thanks so much for being with us. So IVF is mostly behind the phenomenon, and I imagine it's not just twins, but it's triplets, quadruplets, even octuplets that are also associated with this phenomenon.
Yes, but twin births are still more frequent than triplets, which are rare. And I may mention another factor which has pushed up the tuning rate at the world level. You mentioned the medically assisted reproduction, which includes IVF, but also not only. It includes also simpler methods such as ovarian stimulation and artificial insemination. But another cause behind this increase in tuning rate is that women have their children later and later in life. So there is an increase in the mean age at childbearing, and since twinning rate increases with the mother's age, it pushed up also the tuning. So there are two reasons behind this rise in twinning rate at the world level.
You know what, though, in reading this study, you discover it's not necessarily great for mothers, though, because multiple births are comparatively far more dangerous, really, than single pregnancies. So we're hearing now that researchers think we've actually reached a peak because they're now aiming to achieve safer single births rather than these multiple births, correct?
Yes. 30 years ago, when medically assisted reproduction started, medical doctors would implant several embryos at once. And so it produced multiple pregnancies, a lot. As it's considered a problem to have so many twins and multiples, medical doctors now use a different technique. They implant one unique embryo at once, and then they keep surnumerate other embryos frozen. And if the first tentative was not a success, they implant afterwards again one embryo. And the success rate with this new technique is the same than that used 30 years ago to implant at once several embryos. The difference is you obtain unique pregnancies instead of multiple pregnancies. So the development of this new technique, which developed first in the countries of the north of Europe, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and which spread elsewhere in Europe, in North America and other countries, has pushed the tuning rate down. But on the other side, couples, women asking IVF is increasing, and also mean age at motherhood is still increasing. Right. So the both factors push up or down, and the result it's for more and more developed countries. Okay. Probably the tuning rate has attained a peak and is decreasing now. But in other countries, it's still increasing.
Okay, you know, I'd like to get kind of your opinion on some commentary, because it's remarkable. We'll remember, you know, when IVF first really started, it actually frightened some people because babies could suddenly be conceived outside of the womb between, you know, people who had never met and never would meet. There was this phenomenon being called engineered babies that seemed like things from a science fiction novel, but effectively, that really is our reality today. Overwhelmingly, do you think it's a good thing, or do you fear that too much technology is going into human reproduction?
Well, we have now studies who have followed up these babies produced with IVF. So we have more results. And in most cases, there is no problem. They are safe, they are okay. So people should not fear these techniques. but probably we need to examine more precisely. And particularly when these people, when they are adults and they want to have babies themselves, if the proportion was sterile, who have problems to conceive, is not higher than people who were born naturally, were conceived naturally. So studies are still going on to verify this, but you should not fear this technology, which is very useful to permit couples and women who cannot have a child to have one.
Okay, Gilles Pison, thank you so much for joining us on the NewsHour. We appreciate your time.